Hello, everybody. This is Dean Val with the Creative Literal Side Show. We're on every other Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. And I'm, again, Dean Val of Nations United Universal University. And this is sort of a variety show. We have all kinds of interesting topics that we cover. We're joined every week by two regular guests, and I'll have them introduce themselves today. And this is Mike and Bob. And before I do that, again, I'm Dean Val, and I'm hosting the show. And what we have is a real education and real guidance for everybody that we provide. And this is for the world. It doesn't matter who you are, what you believe, or your background, your experiences. We're here for everybody. And so let's get into the regular guests here again, are Mike and Bob. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Sailing from north central Wisconsin. And I just have an interest in a wide variety of subjects, and I can't wait to hear what our guest has to say today.
Thanks, Bob. And Mike, a short intro, what you do or what you're about?
Hi, this is Mike Mason from Southern California, and my show entails a lifetime of dealing with the system and all of the events surrounding it, and the present scenarios that are now in place and working.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, for our special guest that we're going to be interviewing today is Tony Livoti, and he's the founder of IDEA, IDEA, International Development Exchange Association. IDEA's mission is to build 21st century infrastructure eco-villages starting in Native America and rural Rwanda. IDEA eco-villages are designed to function within nature, not change nature to function. IDEA's ecosystem formula is regenerative, restorative, sustainable, and prosperity-making environment for its workers and inhabitants. So, Tony, this sounds a little bit like some of the other eco-villages that I've read about, especially the permaculture type, where you're working with nature and you're establishing off-grid and systems of trade and exchange and working together, and you're basically working with the environment. So welcome, Tony, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Val. I know we talked over a year and a half ago and about our project, and thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on its evolution.
Yeah, I met Tony at the Indian Canyon in Hollister, California. We were at a bear ceremony, I believe, at that point, and we talked afterwards, and we exchanged, I told him about some of our projects here with the New Presentation Foundation, like the Vessel projects and the schools, and New School Homeschool, and which we've done since then, and the university. So Tony sounded like he's doing some interesting things, and they're right there in Indian Canyon. You're building a structure there, is that it?
Well, we're erecting a structure there. We haven't done it yet. Since we last talked, we've acquired land in the foot of Volcano Mountain in rural Rwanda, right next actually to Ellen DeGeneres' Wildlife Foundation operation. And then we have the land, the spot at Indian Canyon to erect two micro-weight structures. We call them micro-weight structures there as a marketing platform for the first phase of our IDEA business plan, and that is to market to the emergency refugee homeless marketplace, and within a very affordable kind of structure. The microweight structures are lightweight, and they can be assembled and erected from the ground up without needing any kind of large machinery or ladders or whatever. And it also, the foundation is unique in that it sits on top of the ground. It's not ensconced deeply into the ground. And because of that, we don't have to alter the natural environment in any way, because these structures can be erected on the sides of hills, around trees, around boulders. Our concept is to develop, aside from the marketing of this to the emergency housing, our concept is to develop 21st century infrastructure ecovillages anew with land that has not been altered or changed in any way with 20th century technology. So our concept with the idea to build 21st century ecovillages starting in Native America and rural Rwanda is to go to unused land and build the infrastructure from ground up anew without changing any aspect of the natural environment. So in other words, if you're looking at, let's say, just 100 acres of land, and you got trees, and you got boulders, and you got rocks, et cetera, and let's say you're going to our typical eco-village is estimated around 1,000 people, including women, men, and children. The concept is to say, okay, how do we create a infrastructure utilizing all these great new amazing breakthroughs in infrastructure and energy, transportation, construction, waste management, et cetera. It's just amazing what has occurred in the last 5 years without changing the environment in any way. That's why we are following the Native Americans who have did it for 55,000 years or more. Only this time we'll be doing it with 21st century technologies. And our business plan in respect to the microweight structure, it's a structured insulated panel, very lightweight, and that's why you can build from the ground up. And since we've last talked, we've made some major breakthroughs on this microweight structure building technology that was originated over 40 years ago. We've made some major upgrades to it, and we've gotten to the place where one component, similar to the geodesic, but an improvement on that, but one building component, and it's a geometric kind of design, can build any size structure, any size, with the same one. Again, the foundation, as I mentioned earlier, so we're shooting for, in our first phase, to create space, as we call it, for less than $10 a square foot. Now, what's in that space is additional to that. But creating the space, the shelter that sits lightly on the land, that can be erected in one day. Let's say a 28 square foot structure can be erected in one day, and we're shooting for cost in a mass-produced kind of way, because we're talking about one component as far as the structure, not the foundation. Foundation is two components. Can build any size structure, and when we mass those pieces, we'll be able to get the cost per square foot down very low.
that is, it's along the lines of the geocentric dome. Is that what you said?
It's similar to that in that one building component is used to create the structure. Ours is different because it does not require. It allows our system allows you to build from the ground up. Unlike a geodesic dome, you need ladders and lifts, etc. Our system starts with foundation, which is another breakthrough in technology. I can get into that in a little more detail. But once you have the foundation that's sitting lightly on the ground, but tethered firmly into the ground, we build from the ground up with this one component. So that's why it's a little different than geodesic dome. And also the design provides more space a geodesic dome, and it's hard to explain without seeing it.
And what material is this made out of, the structure?
Well, it's a structured insulated panel with eighth-inch walls, and the center being the insulation. And there are many new, good, environmentally sound insulation materials now. So the medium can be any kind of medium. It could be our prototypes have been in plywood, eighth-inch plywood. It could be done in stainless steel. It could be done in plexiglass. It could be done in porcelain, ceramic. It could be any medium. And the medium that we're going to use when we erect our first two structures will probably be at this point, could change. It would be the plywood, the eighth-inch walls with the 5/8-inch center insulation.
Is that what's going up in Indian Canyon with the plywood?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I guess my only question would be, have you started this kind of a process here in this country as well?
We've been, just to give you a little history, this project started over 40 years ago in Santa Cruz, California, where I was a part of it in its development. And 8 prototypes were created. And then a long story, a tragic story, the whole thing just stopped in 1992. Just stopped. And I don't want to get into that tragic story. That's another story. And I inherited, let me put it that way, I inherited the technology. And it sat in my file cabinet for over 20 years. With my intention to always bring it back when I was ready to do that. And that's what we did when we formed IDEA. And since then, we've taken that 40-year-old building technology and improved it. Not that it needed a lot of improvement, but some key areas. And we've done that with some 3D modeling, architectural engineering, civil engineering kinds of applications. Now we're in a funding stage to actually take that evolution of the microwave structure and create 2 prototypes. Again, one will be erected at Indian Canyon and one that will be erected at the land in rural Rwanda. And those will be used as marketing platforms, as I mentioned earlier, as the first phase of the IDEA business plan. The second phase is, the first phase is to erect the structure. The second phase is to market them. The third phase is to then leverage those profits that we've accrued against public sector funds and then build the first 2 fully functional 21st century IDEA ecovillages, which is all online and will summarize what they are. It's a formula with the key being the construction. You got to have a roof over your head, but employing the latest infrastructure technologies in transportation, waste management, energy. There's 8 industry sectors. Communications. We have a holistic preventive medicine center, et cetera. And it's all designed to be restorative, regenerative, self-sustaining, and prosperity making by replicating the eco-village as in its whole model, or by exporting or marketing various green technologies that emerge out of those first 2 eco-villages. So the workers and inhabitants of those eco-villages create prosperity for themselves by doing that, by replicating what they're doing. And then as far as addressing populations, large populations, let's say 1,000 people, you got another 1,000 people or another 1,000,000 people you have to house, or you have to create an environment for them to prosper in and to live zero emission, positive green way. You just create another eco-village with its own unique management and leaders, and that connects to the next one, and then that connects to the next one, and then this creates an organic system for trade and investment between those eco-villages, sharing new breakthroughs and on the initial models, sharing the technologies, sharing the experiences, and et cetera. So it creates a prosperity-making environment for the inhabitants of IDEA 21st century eco-villages.
I see you're working with the sovereign lands of the Native Americans and probably Rwanda too. There's not the building codes and permits that you have to go through?
Well, Native America, we don't have to deal with that at this point. In rural Rwanda, these structures, they're permanent in nature, but they're portable. You can take them down and you can leave the land as you first saw it. Again, following the beauty of how Native Americans lived in harmony with the land, but only doing the 21st century technologies. So because they're portable in nature, but yet permanent in function, that opens up new ways that you can erect these structures in respect to building codes and regulations and et cetera. And in the sense of rural Rwanda, our first, we have the land, our first effort to erect the structure will be strictly as a model that can be taken down, portable, so that we're not addressing any issues of compliance with the authorities. The concept is that in Africa and in Native America, when you look at all the land that is undeveloped in Native America, and you look at all the land that is undeveloped in Rwanda and good parts of Africa, the concept is instead of creating prosperity for your populace the 20th century way, as we have done in the last 200 years, and now we're just trying to fix what we've created in this old technology, the way we deal with our waste, the way we build homes, the way we move our water, gas, energy, etc. We start anew. So Native America in rural Africa, the continent, can have the choice now. Do they go the old 20th century way, and that has brought us to the point of degradation that we currently experience? Or do we go into a 21st century infrastructure? And we believe IDEA is the beginning of that process. And we see it as part of the process of saving our planet. And we see Native America and rural Rwanda, and it's interesting, they both share a very violent histories of genocide, they will be the people that will lead us into this new 21st century infrastructure world.